All right, so for this last part of our lecture on non-communicable diseases and chronic diseases, um, we want to ask that question is what do you do in the case that there's no screening or no real effective interventions for a particular non-communicable disease? And the book gives you the example of Alzheimer's. It's one of the most rapidly increasing conditions among those diseases that we classify as non-communicable. And aging of the population is expected to be associated with increased cases of Alzheimer's. But click that off again. But we still really don't know what causes Alzheimer's disease. Now, you might remember in a previous class session, I discussed that back in July of this year, they linked different forms of the herpes simplex virus, particularly the strains that are associated with cold sores, as potentially being linked to Alzheimer's. But we can't really make any definitive, yes, herpes simplex virus does cause Alzheimer's because remnants of the virus have been found in tissues of brains with or without the disease. However, these were just some exciting new discoveries that have linked the potential of an infectious disease being again linked to the development of a chronic disease later down the road. So what happens when there are no effective interventions, and what happens when we don't really know what the etiology or the cause of the disease is? Well, it just means that we need to go back and conduct more research and try to further understand what's causing this disease, and what might be some recommendations to help prevent and control that disease. So in the case of if they definitively prove that herpes simplex A causes Alzheimer's, well, maybe a recommendation would be the use of, or the continued use of, some of the antiviral medications that are used when people can develop cold sore viruses, right? There's a Zovirax, there are other type of medications that can be used, Valtrex, that can be used for treating different herpes strains. So that might be a future recommendation that we hear, but right now it's still not very well understood. Is this definitively one of the causes of Alzheimer's? So again, the population health approach would really stress the need for additional research to understand what's the cause of the disease, what would be the recommendation for preventing, controlling disease, how do we implement and evaluate that potential intervention. With that said, that's the end of our lecture series, our video lecture series on non-communicable diseases.